made myself some green tea. I'm really trying to stop drinking like coffee and matcha just because actually I don't need to get into why. That's really nobody's business but my own. Literally, like, so much is said that is just so unnecessary, and I feel like nobody actually gives a fuck. Like, even when I watch people on the internet that I'm kind of interested in their lives a little bit, I don't actually care about like what foods they're incorporating and which foods they've stopped incorporating, and like what exercises they're trying. Like, I really, that's really none of my business. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that's, if you're interested in that about other people's lives, I really think that's a bit too far. I don't know. That's, I guess, an opinion. And why can't my hair ever be my friend? I'm sorry, but I'm just really not loving how it's not giving me. It's an uneven distribution of volume, and it pisses me off because it's like, if I had volume distributed everywhere, oh my god, glorious. Like, Victoria's Secret blowout levels would exponentiate my confidence and just get me everywhere I want to go. But my hair, I feel, holds me back in so many capacities, which is so vain and ridiculous and superficial to say, but it's kind of true. I'm sorry. Like, I really don't like that fact about myself. Anyway, let's just get into topics because I've been writing down stuff, but I haven't really been yapping about it. And the other day, I just randomly started yapping to my camera phone again for the first time in like 2 weeks. And it went on for like an hour and a half, and I ended up coming to the realization of what like the lesson is that I'm meant to be learning in this phase of my life, or like what I'm meant to be doing in order to get to the next level, which is crazy because I had intuitive like beliefs and sort of feelings of knowing, but when I really spoke it out to my therapist, aka my camera phone, for like well over an hour, I point blank came to the like entire conclusion. And at the end of the recording, I was kind of sitting there like, oh my god, I can't believe, like, I literally just figured it out on camera. And then I didn't want to stop recording because I just felt like, wow, like, this is really the space where like a lot happens for me, and I just feel so, I'm like, I don't want to leave it because what if more comes to the real, what if I'm like, oh my god, this and that and that and this, and just like, it's honestly such a safe haven, and my therapist, and like my higher self. Somehow it feels like I'm talking directly to like God, but God is like me on another dimensional plane, you know, like elevated by so many levels. So it's just crazy, and I never want to leave that space. But whenever I have like these thoughts and I can't really record myself in that moment, I just write them down in my notes app, which is why I am so obsessed with my notes app, and why I really believe it is like the end all be all of my soul, of my mind, of my heart, of my fucking higher self, inner child, like everything all at once. And I really think you could get ultimately a pretty good grasp of who I am as a person entirely if you were to just go through all of my notes. Obviously, these are accumulated over like several years now, so a lot of things that maybe I've written down a couple years ago are not as applicable to who I am now, but nonetheless, it kind of gives you sort of like that degree of growth and evolution of myself as a person. So the other day I wrote, I love it how it's the women that are considered slutty and whorish in our society, but whenever a man and a woman are getting ready to fornicate, it's always the man that has to ask the woman if she's ready. We're never in a relationship between a man and a woman, and it's the woman asking the man if he's ready, or waiting for the man to be ready in that situation. It's always the man who is like ready to go basically at any time, right? Like, they're just ready to hop into it, but it's always like they have to wait for when the woman feels safe, when the woman feels ready, when the woman, you know, is down to clown. And it's like, what did I write? To be ready, which is like the evidence that men are down to pretty much from the get-go. And that, if we're actually talking about what the word means, that's men. Like, those, that the men, do you know what I mean? Like, what is it saying about our society that women are the ones that are waiting, taking their time? Obviously, like, we know in our society it's because a lot of the time, like, fuck boys, men use women, right? They manipulate them, they get them into bed, and once they get what they want, they're out. And so women sort of have to protect themselves and give themselves time to reevaluate, assess, kind of like figure out, like, is this kind of a situation? Are you using me just for my body, or do you actually want more and respect me as a human being as a whole? So there's that element as well, but I also feel like naturally women do have to come to a place of feeling safe in order to get aroused. And I remember, I don't know if it was a video or I read somewhere, but somebody was saying how, like, for men, arousal comes from touch. For women, it comes from safety. So ultimately, for us to feel fully aroused with another person in bed, we need to feel safe first and foremost. If we don't feel safe with you, we can obviously get there, but it's not the same. Like, we're not going to be like 100% like, you know, our full sexual beings. And like, when we are that version of ourselves, which I personally have only gotten to once in my life, game changer. It's like a beast. It's like an animal comes out, and I fear like if men actually were to meet that woman at that stage, like that 100% safety and openness and confidence within herself and within that dynamic with that person, I don't think most of the men on this planet would be able to handle it and even know what to do with it. Like, I'm being 100% honest, and I mean that not in like a negative way towards the women. I mean that in a, men don't actually know what the hell they're doing in bed. You know, they kind of have the upper hand because a lot of women are viewing it as a performance. They're not actually going into it with this dynamic of, with this like thought process of, this is just a fun act between us two and we're just doing this for both of our pleasures. It's, women a lot of the times don't even think this is about them. Like, this has anything to do about them and their pleasure is like not even important at all, right? It's about like, I want this man to see me as attractive and validate me, and you know, I want to perform for him and make this a good experience for him. Like, it's always about the man, right? And it's really rarely, unless the women are actually going into it with confidence within themselves, within their bodies, within their sexualities, and also feeling safe with that man, that it kind of becomes this like experience that's ultimately really rare within our world, I think, because of how both men and women are conditioned to perceive sex from a young age overall, because it is very different how men grow up versus how women grow up perceiving this act. And then like obviously like with the two colliding, it's just like you kind of go into it with so much misunderstanding and miscommunication and just like, you know, thinking that this is how this person is supposed to be and how that act, like there's, it's just, it's a mess. It's really a mess. And it wasn't until I had like my one situation where it was absolutely like never before had I expected it to actually like, that it could be this way, that I was like, whoa, like that's crazy that this act can be this way when you're at a certain point with yourself and with your relationship with schmintercourse, that you kind of recognize you've been living a lie your whole life, your whole like sexual life, and then to kind of get to that point and ultimately realize like it's really not like what happened to me was absolutely an exception. Like that will never happen again in my life, and that doesn't happen to a large amount of women, unfortunately. But I sort of, I guess, got blessed by the gods to kind of be given this circumstance for me to have my eyes open. I really truly believe, like I refer to it as my awakening in that regard. And it happened the one time, and then after that, it's been now 3.5 years. I haven't slept with another man since, and I have no regrets about that. Obviously, when I'm ovulating, it's a bit more of a challenge, but ultimately after that situation, I really did come to this conclusion that this is how this act is supposed to be between a man and a woman. But realistically, in the world that we're living and how men are conditioned to perceive schmex with women, it's not gonna be, it's a rarity. It's a rarity for me to actually meet a man that's going to be able to give me what that man gave me. And again, that man, I genuinely, that was an exception. That like him specifically, his upbringing, his relationship towards that, like he was in an open relationship as well. Like put that on, maybe that's too much information that I'm going into. But anyway, it just worked out. Like he had to be that kind of a guy with how he perceived and how he behaved and how he viewed like me as a woman within that circumstance, because he didn't see me as a pawn to gain his own self-pleasure. Like obviously in some ways, but then again, the same could be said for me. Like I wasn't in this situation for a relationship, for dating. Like this was a one-night situation, you know what I'm saying? And ultimately I ended up gaining so much more from it than just, you know, pleasure, because it turned me celibate for 3.5 years, and for a good reason. Again, because I'm like, if I can have that same experience every time I sleep with a man, I'm not going to be sleeping with men. Point blank, period. And I really think the only way that I could have a repeat of that kind of situation is if I meet someone, fall in love, or develop an emotional connection at least. You know, falling in love can be a bit later, but like develop an emotional connection, have them actually perceive me as a human being first and foremost, and not just a physical body that they can. And that takes time. Especially the kind of woman I am. I have really high standards. I think very highly of myself. I'm not insecure in a lot of regards. Like, it's just not, I'm not what the vast majority of men can handle dating. If in all honesty, and I don't say that in a way like I'm difficult, I mean, I am difficult for a lot of these men because they are used to like giving the bare minimum, low maintenance. You know, a woman is usually just happy that a man chooses her because that's how, again, we're conditioned as women in the society. You want the man to choose you. So you do everything and anything possible to have a man choose you. And if you don't have a man that chooses you, then the problem is you. But we never stop to think about the fact that maybe it's because men don't want to fucking do anything. Like, they don't want to insert any effort. They don't want to actually put in any thought and consideration and like so much information and facts and realities and stories are coming out from women and men as well of like the realities of how they actually perceive us as women, which is a lot of times terrible. They hate us, especially if they can't use us for their benefit and manipulate us, and you know, if we just can't be easy and complicit like and insecure. They love when women are insecure because they're the easiest to use, they're the easiest to get, they're the easiest to just like get whatever the thing is that you want to get out of them and then drop them. And then they're gonna think that they're the problem because they're insecure to begin with, so they're gonna think it's something to do with me. And never stop to think, oh, maybe this motherfucking asshole is a piece of shit to begin with and he was gonna treat me like shit no matter what because he never saw me as an actual human being. Whew. That was not where I thought that rant was gonna go, and I can't believe this cat is still sleeping peacefully after that. Some green tea to regulate. Oh my god, beautiful. Anyway, okay, so we'll move on from that one. Okay, what else did I write? The fear of revealing the true me again because I'm afraid the world will take it away from me and swallow me whole, send me back into hiding because of my fight or flight tendencies that still remain. I guess this was in collaboration with that video that I recorded previously of me coming to the realization of like what lesson I'm meant to learn now to evolve to my next state of higher self, right? And ultimately it's like coming to that realization that there is this deep-rooted fear within me that like if I really truly go out into the world and I am 100% myself and I am like 100% revealing of all of the true essences of who I am in my being and behaving in a way that, to be honest, like in our day and age is sort of like it's not the norm, because a lot of times people walk in these streets, strangers don't look at each other, or if they do, they look at each other with judgmental eyes. Nobody smiles at strangers anymore. You rarely come across having conversations with strangers just for like 5 seconds, exchanging a little bit like of a fun little conversation, a little bit of a joke, a little bit of a whatever the thing is, right? A dilly-dally. I don't know what the right word to insert here is. It's just like not normal. We live in such an individualistic society now, and I've noticed this in the multiple countries that I have lived in and that I've traveled to. This like obviously there are certain cultures that are more prone to being sociable, and then there are others that are more prone to being antisocial, and more societies that are more judgmental or more like obviously judgmental with their eyes, and others that kind of hide it and try to make it seem like they're not actually judging you when they really are. And at this point, I don't really know which one I prefer. And like other countries like the United States and Australia, for example, that I've noticed where they are really kind and smiley and chatty, but half of the time it's not actually authentic and they just do it because it's sort of like what's expected of them. And I don't know which I prefer. I don't know if I prefer the fake, majority smiling and pretending, because then I feel like I don't want to actually engage in a conversation with you if you don't actually want to have this conversation with me, and it's just coming from a place of like fake kindness, versus this other society that it's like nobody's like, it's just like the 1 in 50 people that are actually willing to have a conversation, but at least that 1 in 50 is genuinely interested in wanting to have this conversation with you and smile at you, and it doesn't come from a place of like, like, oh, they're just trying to hit on you or they're trying to get something out of you or trying to manipulate you. Like, it's actually genuine. And I don't know, and I feel like there are, and I genuinely believe deep down, like the vast majority of people really want that connection with other human beings, but we've just been so conditioned to live in a world of like, everyone is your enemy, everyone is out to get you, get things from you, steal something, no one is genuine. If people are being nice to you, it's because they're manipulating you, they want to use you. And honestly, now that I think about it, that is such a fucking intelligent, like, manipulation tactic that I feel like society as a whole, I don't know where it came from, I don't know where it started. Like, again, I'm only in my late 20s, I don't know how long this like conditioning of whatever they've been instilling in societies as a whole has started. And I know I sound like a conspiracy theorist right now, but this actually does make sense, where like the more that they perpetuate this idea that strangers, like people that you don't know, other human beings, are fake and they are incapable of actually being kind from a genuine place, that creates the individualism even more and more and more, and then you don't rely on other humans as much. You rely on capitalistic companies and like you're not relying on community and other people for help and support, that's when you start to just sort of become your own inner bubble. And that's when people are buying more appliances, right? Because if somebody else has a washing machine and you have a dryer, you can rely on one another to sort of do that. But if you're not somebody that's like community based and you were kind of steering away from that, right? Of like asking other people for help, why ask when we can just like buy our own washing machine? And then there's more people that are buying washing machines. I know that sounds like a really bad example, but I just remember hearing it or reading about it from that perspective of like, you know, buying washing machines, buying appliances, because you know, you're living your own home, you have your own things, you don't need to ask for help from other people because you can get your own toaster. Do you know what I'm saying? And I know that's like sounds like a bad example. Or it's like when back in the day people used to go to their neighbors and ask them for a cup of sugar or for like an egg or something, right? Nobody does that shit anymore. The store is right there. I can see the store. You can just go to the store and buy eggs. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's no more sense of community and helping other people, and they've perpetuated this idea. I don't know from where it began, but like other people are not as kind as you are, because deep down you know that you can be a kind person and you are always willing to help and be, you know, like receptive to other people, and you're not actually being manipulative and you're not using them. But to think that other people could be like you is crazy. No. If someone else is being the way that I know that I could be to others, then it's clearly manipulation, then it's clearly fake, that it's clearly coming from a mischievous sort of underlyingly unkind place. But it's like, we all know what it feels like to help other people and have that feeling of goodness within us. It actually benefits us just as much as it does them when we help other people. And that's like, I don't know if it was a study or someone just made a statement about this, but I remember reading or hearing about it where it was like, it actually, like when you feel afraid to ask somebody else for help, you shouldn't, because you're actually helping them as well by asking them for help, because people want to help other people. It is innate within us as humans to want to help other people. Like we literally have it within us. And you know the feeling, you know when someone, like imagine someone stops you on the street and is like, excuse me, can you help me with directions? And if you actually can help them, and I've had times when I couldn't help them, but I pull out my phone and I'm like, let's go Google Maps, let's figure out where you need to go. Like I want to help this person, I want to help, and it makes me feel good afterwards, and not in like, oh my god, I'm such a good person kind of way, but just because I'm like, I helped this person trusted me, or like looked at me and was like, this person seems like they can help me, and you know, in whatever situation that help is needed, and they trusted me with that. They came up to me and I was able to help them. And even if I wasn't fully able to help them, I don't know, I feel like I tried. At least I know that I try my best and my hardest. I try to the best of my ability to help a person if they come up to me, because I'm like, in this world especially, like I know what it takes to come up to a stranger and ask them for help. And I don't think it's that easy anymore that it used to be in the past, because now we have our phones, we have Google Maps, we have Google, we can AI questions, you know, like we don't actually even need to come up to strangers anymore. We don't, and that's so fucking sad, because this is why we have dating apps. Because back in the day, people would just go up and you could use the excuse of like, excuse me ma'am, like do you know where the store is, because I don't know. And then like now, and back in the day it would be normal because there was no Google Maps. But now if some guy were to come up to me and be like, excuse me, do you know where the supermarket is? I'd be like, excuse me, like don't you have Google Maps? Like hello. And it's I don't know, it's just so sad, and I wasn't expecting to get this. But anyway, my tea is getting cold. Yeah, so that was, I don't even know what the conclusion from that was, but basically like, yeah, I know that I want to be that kind of person. I want to be someone that smiles at strangers and talks to strangers and has conversations and is helpful and is just like a community-based human in the world, really. And I know I don't have any manipulative tendencies with it. I don't have any like underlying, what is the word? Like I don't have anything to gain from it. I genuinely just want to do it because I feel like it's within my nature, within all of our natures, to be those kinds of people where we are community-based and not so individualistic and separated, because it's just so sad. It's such a sad world that we live in now. We have no sense of community, yet we all live amongst each other. And sometimes I do have these moments when I'm out in public, specifically like on public transportation. It always happens because we're always just like sitting calmly and waiting to get to the next destination, right? And I'm just sitting there, I'm looking around, I'm like, I feel so disconnected from all of you. I don't even know if you're the same fucking species as me. Like it feels like that, even though we obviously are all humans here, but it just feels like so separated. And I'm like, oh my god, like there's these other human beings around me, but it's like, I'm also a human being. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, And so, yeah, that's been weighing on my mind, clearly. And so I'm a little bit afraid that if I go out into the world and I start behaving in this way, that people are going to look at me like, what? Like, they're going to judge me. They're going to laugh at me. They're going to think terrible things about me. They're going to think, like, something's up. The jig is up. You know what I mean? And I think it does help me that, A, I'm a woman. Like, already I'm perceived as a lot less of a danger just because I'm a woman. B, because I'm also a little bit, like, cute. Like, I'm attractive looking. So people are like, oh, she looks nice. She looks, like, cute and clean and put together. So, like, I don't visibly come off as a threat in any way initially. And then, but maybe that makes people think like, oh, then she's using that against me and there's something manipulative within her actions and her words and whatever. But it's like, bitch, like, if I wanted to manipulate people, trust me, I know enough about human psychology to manipulate anyone that I want. If I wanted to get money out of, like, rich men, I could do it, but it's just not in my nature. I can't manipulate people even for my own gain. I just can't do it. It really goes against, and it's so fucking annoying because it's like, damn, like, there are really people out here living my perceived dream of, like, having all this financial abundance and traveling the world and getting all these, like, nice, luxurious, materialistic things, and all they're basically doing is manipulating rich men. And I could be doing the same because I know all the tactics and I have the pretty privilege for it, but I just can't do it. Like, I just can't do it. It's not in my nature. I don't know why. No, I know why. And honestly, I'm grateful because I don't want to have to, like, be living a lie constantly. Like, I'm meant to live authentically, and if that means being broke and not traveling the world and not having the things I want, then at least I know I'm content within, like, not living a fake life. I have that peace of mind and that contentness with myself and with my life, that at least I don't have all the external things I think I want, but at least, like, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, psychologically, I know that I'm not living a lie, At least, like, what I am now is, like, actually who I am and what I am, even if that means not having things, not traveling the world, and not having any money to my name. Anyway, so yeah, so I have that fear, but I'm honestly, oh my god, and this just leads me to, like, an example. So I go to this gym, right? And a week ago, I saw this girl for the first time, and I really just felt like her vibe was giving me very European. And mind you, I am currently in Russia, so the vibe here is not European. I'm sorry, Eastern Europeans, they don't have that European vibe. And I don't give a shit if whatever, like, that's just the reality. And I've lived in European countries, I can say that. But I saw her and I was like, she's giving European, like, she's giving foreigner vibes, like, just the way she dresses, the way she looks, and her tattoos. She had really beautiful, delicate, like, intricate tattoos. And I was like, this is giving me taste. Like, you have taste on a level that I just don't see in the vast majority of people here. Not because people here don't have taste, but because they don't have, like, they have their own taste. They have, like, the Eastern European taste versus, like, I'm used to the European Western world taste, and that's sort of, like, where I lean more towards personally. I've also been on Tumblr and Pinterest since I was a fucking teenager, right? That's, like, molded my taste and aesthetics since I was a teenager. And I saw her and I was like, oh my god, I really like her tattoos. Like, I feel like we could be friends. I don't know. And I really wanted to just go up to her and compliment her tattoos, right? And I saw her that day and I was like, okay, no, it's a bit weird. She's working out, I'm working out, like, I don't know. And I just kind of, like, convinced myself out of it, even though I really, really wanted to. And I have this moment so many times where I want to compliment someone, but then I just get scared. I just get scared that they're gonna have a bad reaction, or they're gonna look at me like, what? Or they're gonna be like, okay, thanks, or whatever. Like, I do get a bit afraid of complimenting people, really. And it's only when I'm like, or like, a little bit under the influence, or I'm in a situation where it's kind of like there's just no perceived threat. Like, if I'm in a club and, like, I feel like these are all my people, they're gonna have a great reaction. But if I'm just on the streets, in the store, in the gym, like, I don't know the reaction of the stranger. And so I see her a second time, like, the following couple of days, and I'm like, okay, this is the time, you got to do it now. And then, of course, I don't do it. I talk myself out of it. And then yesterday was a day, that was the day after I'd come to the realization, like, I need to be more of this person that I really want to be in the world and that I want to, like, see in the world, but I have that fear of, like, other people being a bit, like, not nice to me. And so going into the gym, I was like, okay, I'm going to embody this version. Like, I need to start behaving like this because this is really what's going to send me into the life that I want. Like, I need to be this version of myself I know that I want to be and I'm truly, like, meant to be. And so I go into the gym with that mindset, that kind of thinking, and then I'm in the changing room, and I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, if I see the girl, like, she just comes to my mind. I'm like, if I see her, I'm going to compliment her tattoos. I'm going to go up to her and I'm going to compliment her. I'm not going to be a fucking chicken shit. And then lo and behold, I look to my right, who's changing in the same, because it's, like, multiple rows of changing lockers. Who's in the same row as me changing? her, tattooed girl, that's right. And then I'm kind of like, okay, but like, I'm changing right now, like, and I see her looking over at me, like, we've exchanged glances. I feel like she can sense that I have a vibe, and I sense that she has a vibe, so I feel like we kind of, like, we both have that understanding, but she has no reason probably to come up to me, like, there's nothing really to compliment, like, I have one tattoo, and it's pretty hidden most of the time. And so I just kind of like get finished dressing, and then I'm like, okay, and then I go to fill up the water at the water station, right? And I'm putting my hair into a ponytail, and then she comes up right next to me to pour water, and I'm like, this is the chance. And I say, you're literally right next to her. She's just pouring water into her water bottle. Just compliment her fucking tattoos. It's not that big of a deal. And then I see that she has AirPods in, and my brain automatically uses that as an excuse to be like, no, she's listening to music, don't bother her. And then she, like, as I'm thinking that, she takes her water bottle, like, screws on the lid and walks away. And I'm like, fuck, like, this was my chance. This was literally the universe, like, dropping it into my hands, you know what I mean? And then we're working out, like, I'm working out, she's working out, and we end up working out in the same area together. And then at this point, I'm just kind of like, okay, like, and I say, like, just do it. Like, you're gonna regret it. You're gonna regret it, not because you think something's gonna come out of this, but just because you're letting that fear, that brain thought of, like, this is a risk. You don't know what the outcome is gonna be. This is too scary. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. You're gonna allow that voice to win. And I cannot keep allowing that voice to win, because if I keep letting that voice win every single time situations like these occur, I am never going to get to the next level of my life. I'm never going to become that person that deep down I want to be. I'm not going to get over basically having my brain be in the driver's seat of the fucking car and me being in the fucking back seat. Do you know? So I muster up the courage. This is so stupid. I know this is like such a ridiculous sounding story, but like, this is where my brain's at. This is where my brain is at with this kind of situation. And so eventually, like, I just see her kind of coming next to me to do a workout over here, and I just basically come up in like the worst kind of way I feel like I could have done it. And obviously I'm still overthinking it in my head because like, I knew this was gonna happen. I'm gonna overthink it and regret it. And like, if she had made eye contact with me, then I could have just waved her, but she was looking somewhere else, so I had to like tap her on the shoulder like a fucking creep. And then she takes out her headphones, and I basically compliment her tattoos. She tells me she's a tattoo artist, and then I make this weird comment of like, oh, but you didn't do those yourself, did you? And she was like, no, of course not. And then eventually, you know, I'm just like, okay, well, bye. And then as she was saying like things, was like, I really appreciate it. I was like, you too. I don't think she heard that. Please, dear God, let her not have heard that, because I thought she was just like gonna like wish me like a good day or a good workout, and then I would have been like, you too. Again, I feel like this is just a situation where that it's teaching me I need to prepare what I'm gonna say ahead of time in these situations, at least, because usually I try not to like pre-think conversations generally, even though I do have a tendency to do that. In these situations, I feel like when I'm coming up to strangers and I'm a little bit like nervous as it is because I don't actually know what's going to be said, how it's going to be reacted, I need to have a little bit of a script prepared. Otherwise, I'm going to go into full-blown panic and say some weird shit. It's just happened before. Honestly, it has happened before. And so I know I have this problem. These cats are sleeping so peacefully without like the fact that I'm screaming in this room. So yeah, so that was like, I think, an example, a situation where I was like, okay, it's okay, you know, and it's not, you know, and even though my brain is obviously like went into overthinking and still will occasionally, probably for the next couple of days, like bring that memory up and have me feel a little bit like, oh, like, why did I say that and do it like that, you know what I mean? But it's good because deep down I'm like, I know I don't actually give a shit, and it's already done, and like, I can't go back and change anything, so like, whatever. And I'm proud of myself that I did it, because I know that was like one of the situations where like it's being thrown in my face to basically, do you actually mean it? Are you actually for real about like being this person that goes, like, for example, for me, it's another thing, like going up to strangers and complimenting them. Again, having this fear of like, I don't know how they're going to react. I don't know what they're going to say. I don't know if they're going to think I'm like lying or being mean or whatever. Like, I just don't know what's going to concur. So I just get so nervous. And she was really nice about it, thank God. But, you know, like, still, I have that fear. And it lingers, and I'm, again, trying to get over it. So this was a situation that basically ultimately was like a really good preparation, I think, for myself. Yeah. No, that's not a good one. That's not a good one. The mind. Oh yeah, I had this thought the other day where I was like, because I spend a lot of time by myself, and it's been that way for the past couple of years, and especially because I've moved country like 4 times in my adulthood, so I've kind of had to come to a place of comfort with being alone, because I don't immediately make friends when I get somewhere, and usually like for me to make a friend, it's like, it's not a surface level friend. I can't have surface level friends anymore. And so for me, it's like I need to find someone that like we're deep in it, like we're spiritually solely connected. We just vibe on like a natural level, and that's not easy to just come across in your first like week or month or even 6 months living in a new place. So I just have a lot of moments where I am alone, and I've gotten really, really, really comfortable over the past couple of years of just being by myself. And I've genuinely come to a place where I love being by myself. I really love it so much. And even I remember when I was moving to Australia, like thinking to myself, like, I'm not even nervous at all that potentially I won't make any friends or it'll take a couple of months, because I was like, I have me. Like, I really wasn't even stressed about it. I remember moving to Berlin and being a little bit worried about it because I had only one friend there, and then they were going to move away after a month, so then I was going to be completely alone, and I was just a little bit like, But this was still at a point in my life where I felt a little bit insecure being entirely alone, like not even having like one friend that I could rely on physically being there, because I have like a good amount of friends, but all of those friendships are long distance. They live in different countries. So when I moved to a new location, it's like I don't really usually have anyone there. And I remember moving to Australia, I was so like chill about it. I was like, whatever, like if I don't make any friends, whatever. Like I know I could, but again, for me, it's really important that I meet someone that I just like connect with and vibe, and we have like that. It's not like a forced friendship because we have a couple of common interests and we get along just enough to have like surface level conversations. Like I need depth. I need depth with every relationship in my life, platonic, familial, romantic. I need depth. And so I knew that going to Australia for 1 year, because that was how long my visa was, that it was probably unrealistic that I would make like a lot of friends like that. I was happy to just make one, but then again, I also knew like if I don't meet even one, like it's fine. I got me. Like I'm so good on my own. Like I genuinely didn't have a concern. And literally the first night I landed in Australia, I met the one person that would end up becoming like my one and only like real close friend for that entire year. And we would hang out like all the time, and she was like really someone that I connected with on like a deep level. Not immediately that day that I met her. It took a couple of weeks, but eventually when we realized that we were kind of like similar in a lot of ways, and we had that kind of a connection and that kind of desire for depth within a friendship, is kind of when it took off. And I was like, wow, that's crazy that I literally met you. And the story in and of itself of how we met is kind of like so coincidental, and like only the universe can conspire this kind of shit. But I really believe it's because I had this mindset of like, I don't need to make a friend. Do you know what I mean? Like I have me. I'll be fine on my own, and I'll meet people here and there. Like obviously I'm not going to be like a hermit entirely, but like I kind of made my peace with the fact that I wasn't probably going to make like a really close friend. And then I did, and I met her, and so that was like just a crazy situation. And I really think it's because I went into going to that country with that kind of thought of like, it really doesn't matter. Like I don't need it. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, great. Like I would be fine no matter what, you know? And again, it's because I really know that I'm so good and comfortable on my own. Like I love my own company so much. Like, and I love my mind. Like I have ADHD. I have an ADHD brain, and I'm sorry, mucus. And if you know anything about an ADHD brain, it's never off. It's never off. It's always yapping. It's always talking. It's always spewing something, some thought, some pattern, some memory, some whatever. Like every moment of every day that you're awake, there is something going on in your brain. Something is going on. And so I just had this thought, and I wrote it down. I was like, my mind is the most interesting thing that I have ever come across in my life. And then I wrote in all caps, to me, to myself, not for others. Don't get mad, bitch. Basically because I know that like saying something like that is gonna create like, I feel like a lot of people would roll their eyes at that. It's like, you think your mind is the most, for me, okay, to me, it is the most interesting thing I've ever come across, because it's literally my mind. Do you know what I mean? Like obviously I'm gonna think it's the most interesting thing ever because it's mine, and I have such like a deep, profound love for myself as a human being, and like I genuinely, like, all of my interests live in here, and they're my interests, you know, like of course it's gonna, I don't know what you want me to say. And so, and again, I know this is because of years and years of work of like getting to know myself, unpeeling the layers, the masks, the sort of societal facade that I had created, like sort of taking that away piece by piece, and just getting to know myself and falling in love with myself, and really developing such like a healthy, loving relationship with who I am, the same way you do with like a friend or with a partner, healthily, you know, like you don't fall in love straight away, no love bombing, you know, it's kind of like you get to know each other, you get sort of get that thing. And of course I have arguments with myself at time, and I feel like so disappointed and a bit like, what the fuck was that? What are you doing? What is this behavior? You could do better. Like, where's your standards? Like, of course I get those moments with myself as well. I'm not like 100% happy with myself and all my decision making and the things that I do at all times. Like, it's the same kind of notion of like a relationship romantically, in that sense of like, you have your moments of disagreements and arguments and like confusions, but you always work your way through it. And again, this is me talking in like sort of like, obviously it's a different kind of relationship. I'm not in a romantic relationship with myself. Like, that's, I mean, although when you think about it, like when people are, what's it called, flicking the bean, you're technically having sex with yourself. You're technically fucking yourself. But that's just not the thing that I was trying to get at here. My tea is cold, and the speed at which I talk sometimes and like how passionate I get about certain things, like I get a headache, like not a headache, but my head like starts getting a bit like, and then I get a bit tired, like my eyes are like, because I just exhaust myself with how passionate and chatty, and this is why, because I don't talk usually, I'm not really like chatty, I don't really have any friends. Where I am right now, I talk to like my family members, but not like, we're not having like hour-long conversations, so I don't really actually talk out loud that much. So when I actually get onto like recording a video of myself on my phone or my computer, I'm really like la 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 la, and I get really into the topics because I'm really like passionate about them because they're like my own thoughts. Which is probably why it led to me thinking like my mind is the most interesting thing I've ever come across in my life. Because I really feel like so passionately and deeply about like the things that come to my mind, and even though that's not to say like every single thought is so like thought-provoking and amazing and like once in a lifetime unique, like of course I have thoughts sometimes where like this is ridiculous, like, and again in my notes app there's like plenty of those examples, like what let's find one just now. Actually, let me scroll really down. Noodle. I wrote noodle, dog name. Actually, that's kind of genius. Like honestly, like if I got like a snickerdoodle, is that a, no, it's not snickerdoodle, labradoodle, sorry. I had a friend that had a labradoodle, then named it snickerdoodle. That was a mouthful. So if I had like a labradoodle, Noodle is such a cute name for a dog. Come on now. All right, let's go somewhere else. Sugar Stacy. I guess that was maybe my sugar baby nickname if I ever became a sugar baby. Sugar Stacy. What else? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I didn't come up with that obviously, but that just was there. Clitorally, like literally, but clitorally. I know that was an original thought. At least like when I thought it, I'm not saying I'm the first and only human to ever think that, but like it did come to me at one point. I was like, wow, that's genius. And honestly, that kind of is. So maybe I am coming to the realization that all the thoughts I have are genius. At least to me, like I really love all my thoughts. Okay, I have like my pinned notes, which are like my more important notes that I feel like I need access to a bit quicker. And one of them is wedding songs. And I have like a whole list of wedding songs that I want to play at my wedding. And again, I don't have a boyfriend. There's no prospects for me getting married anytime in the future. But these are just songs that I'd heard and I was like, I want these at my wedding. And I'll give you some just obviously Dancing Queen by ABBA, like hello. Give It Up, KC Band. When I first heard that song, I was like, wow, this is like such a happy inducing song. Like I love that song. Stumbling In, Susie Quattro. Okay, controversial take. And I'm just gonna say it and I don't wanna like actually delve into it too much because it's just so much. But Forever by Chris Brown. And look, this isn't because I've seen The Office and like Pam and Jim's wedding scene play that song. I've genuinely loved that song since it first came out in like 2006. I was 9 years old at the time, I think. I have loved that song and I'm so sorry. Like I know this is really bad to admit because I am anti Chris Brown. Like I don't think he should have like a career anymore. I feel like he's done enough and he's also done enough. So he needs to just retire and like go sit in like his mansion and be quiet. And this song came out in 2006, okay? And I really genuinely love this song. It's such like a good vibey song and I feel like it would work so well at a wedding and like, and yet I feel guilty about it. I really do. And it's like, this is one of those moments where it like makes me think of like that conversation of like artists separate from the art. And again, I don't know how much of an input I could give on this because I don't know how much relevant information I actually know about the topic. But I don't know. For me, like, just let this be my one pass. Like, please, like, we can all have one pass. I feel like so many people still listen to R. Kelly's "I Believe I Can Fly." I never gave a shit about that song. Like, I see the why the popularity of the song is so like popular. Why the popularity of the song is so I do, but I personally never gave a fuck about that song. So for me, it's like whatever. If I never have to listen to that song again, I'll be fine. But "Forever" by Chris Brown. It's like the one. Like, please, just like let me have that one song, please. Like, I just wanna. I'm willing to give up all the other, like, "Under the Influence" is such a sexy song, but I'll give it up. I'll give it up just to, fuck that guy in the ass. But like, "Forever" is really just one of those songs for me. I'm so sorry. Okay, we're going on to the next thing. Ooh, I saw this quote or like line on Substack where it was saying, no, it was a YouTube video. "Knowing what's trending isn't taste. It's awareness of marketing." And honestly, I am so sick and tired of these people that think that they have taste just because they're following trends. Trends are not taste. And of course, there are situations where certain things become trendy because they actually are tasteful. But that is usually like 20%. I want to say around like 10 to 20% of what actually becomes trendy actually has taste, okay? For the most part, it's just somebody or nowadays companies can just market something so successfully. They can hire the influencers to wear them and then it becomes trendy because your favorite influencer or celebrity or whatever is wearing it. And that's false trend setting. Like, that's fake. That's that's manufactured trend setting. That's not even like how it used to be back in the day where it was like naturally things would just become trendy, and then like the more people start wearing it because you saw it on this brand, you're like, oh, that is actually cute. Like, for me, it absolutely did happen at times where something was trending and I genuinely thought that it was like cute, and I personally, for myself, I saw the taste within it in relation to my own taste, so then I would want the thing. But I rarely remember, actually no, that's a lie. When I was a kid, I remember like Uggs, when Uggs became a really big thing in the States back in like 2008, and I begged my parents to give me Uggs because everyone was wearing them. And same with Abercrombie. Oh my god. Literally remember like wearing Abercrombie to school dance, being like, oh my god, I'm wearing Abercrombie. Like, okay, when I was a kid, yes, it absolutely did fall under that rhetoric of like being trendy. But then obviously, like, I think as I grew and aged and like evolved whatever into an adult and having my own taste and sense of style, especially now, like being so confident in what I wear and how I dress and the decisions I make in relation to my body and my appearance and whatever, it's like, I literally don't give a fuck if it, like, the way, okay, so I go outside here, mind you, it's like, it's been minus like 15 degrees the past couple of weeks, it's snowing, it's cold, and so people are wearing scarves and they're wearing hats, and I've adopted this way of wearing my scarf and my hat that I've genuinely never seen another human being wear in public, and I never saw this like on the internet. Like, this was genuinely this just came to me, and this was just like, this is how I need to wear this, because sometimes it gets so uncomfortable when you wear the hat, and then usually people would put on the hat and then they would like do the balaclava babushka kind of like scarf cover, and to like protect the throat, to cover like sort of the ears and stuff like that. That's how I used to do it. I have since switched, and now I will put on the scarf, kind of like, I'll do like the babushka scarf cover, and then I'll like tie it here and to protect my neck from the wind, and then I'll put the hat on top of the scarf, okay? And then I'll like leave a little bit of scarf poking out of the hat so I can like pull it down, because a main reason I also did this is because the hats always like make my forehead scratch, make them feel itchy. And mind you, I'm usually like, I get it that it could also be the material of the hat, but a lot of times I do wear pretty like good quality hats and it still itches my forehead, and I hate that feeling of like itching my forehead. And I also think it's like a little bit gross. Like, I don't know, I just think it's like a bit gross that I wear the same hat in the same place, and like I just don't think that's clean, and I'm not gonna wash my hat every fucking day, do you know what I mean, every week. So I basically just came up with this thing where like the scarf would basically be the thing covering the forehead, and then I put the hat on top of it. That way it doesn't ever come into contact with my skin, it doesn't scratch it, but it still keeps the warmth because I literally have the layer of the scarf and then the hat on top of it. And when I walk these streets, people are staring at me. And I don't know if it's like, at first I was like, oh my god, they're just staring at me because I'm so beautiful. Like, I get that all the time. Now I genuinely think, I come to the realization, like, I think it's because of the way that I'm wearing my hat and my scarf, because nobody else, and it's so good, like, I look like a little, like, because like the poking out scarf kind of makes it look like a flower. It's actually really adorable. And I swear, I feel people are looking at me like, why is she, like, it's just, no, I've never seen another human. I'm not saying I'm the first I'll never take accountability and be like, I'm the first and only to make this up, like, this is my thing. No, I don't. It probably other parts of, like, the world, people definitely do this, but I've just personally never seen it anywhere. Never seen it anywhere, even here, where people are, like, fucking freezing and everyone's wearing a hat and a scarf. I've never seen it here, and I think, like, again, and people are looking at me like, what the fuck is she wearing? And it's like, I couldn't give a fuck. Like, this works for me. This works really great for me. I'm really kind of proud of this invention that I come up with myself, for myself. And I really couldn't care less if people are like looking at me like, what the fuck is she doing? Like, this is not the norm. I don't fucking give a shit. I'm not trying to be normal. I'm clearly not normal, okay? I am not a normal person. And I love that about myself. Okay, I'm gonna do one more and then I have to go get ready because I have an MRI scan of my nose. Because I have a bit of a crooked nose, like a uneven septum. I don't know what it's called, this thingy. And I also just like constantly have like mucus in there, and it's just like I'm always doing this thing of with my nose like, and it's like I've never, okay, that's a lie, I've snorted stuff up there, but like not that often in my life where it would cause a problem. Like truly, it's just been a handful of times that I've tried stuff, but ultimately I'm fine, you know, like, so I know it's not from that, so I just feel like there's like a problem there that I need to resolve with. Oh my god, it was actually so cute the other day. I saw these two dogs like see each other for the day, and then I had this really like this thought of like, it's so funny watching dogs notice each other for the first time, because I was like literally walking towards these dogs as they were on opposite sides of me looking at each other, and like they literally just stand there and they stare and they stare, and I know it's probably like they're preparing for battle, right? Like it's not like this thing of like they're acknowledging each other for the first time, although I would like to think just from my own mind that they're literally looking at each other like, oh my god, it's another one like me, but he looks different. Like, I really like to think that that's the mental process of these dogs, where they're like seeing each other for the first time, and you're like, you don't look like my human, like you don't look like my owner, you kind of look like me, but you have different skin, different furs, different color, your face looks different, but you don't look like human, but you look more like me than human, but not like me. You know, like, I really like to think that's the that goes on inside of a dog's mind when they see another dog. But clearly then the one dog starts like kind of like zooming towards the other dog, and the owner has to hold it back, and then they're just like staring at each other as they pass each other, because I think they want to like attack each other or like sniff each other. You know, see, dogs have the ability, let me circle back to the initial topic of this entire episode. Dogs have this interest to get to know other dogs. Like, they're not shying away from getting to know strangers, to walking up and sniffing their butts, of saying hello. Do you know what I mean? Like, they have that capacity to get to know other dogs. Humans, on the other hand, are so fucking scared shitless to even smile at another stranger. Do you know what I mean? And I get it. We're more like, you know, dogs are kind of, although no, I do feel like dogs are sneaky. Like, they'll come up and they'll sniff and they'll seem like they're all like innocent or whatever, and then boom, they'll just like attack. Yeah, but dogs will like still go up to other dogs and they'll like pretend like they're all like being nice and whatever, but then they'll like all of a sudden attack. So I do kind of think like that example doesn't work here, because dogs will actually attack other dogs. But human beings, like realistically, we're not gonna like jump on another human being. Like if like, look, if a man smiles at me, sorry, I am going to assume that you are being a bit like that, but it's also like they also understand that notion. They understand that if they smile at a woman, it's kind of like, what else are you trying to communicate here? And I get it, like maybe we perpetuate this idea that men staring, like smiling at women is just like for the basis of flirting and trying to communicate like attraction, but I think it's just gone too far. Like we've gone a bit too far with that in our society, and it also like men are our predominant predator. Like that is my enemy, like really, like not obviously every single man, but like men as a whole, that is the one animal in this world that I have to look out for in regards to my own safety and livelihood. So I'm not going to take the risk of just assuming you're smiling with no preconceived notion and like underlying reason, because my safety is first and foremost. But I feel like if it's like a 70-year-old grandpa and he has like his wife right next to him, or his like granddaughter or grandchild or whatever, I am going to assume, because he's so old, this is not like weird, like he's not being weird about it. But if it's a man that's between the ages of my age up till about like 50, I want to say, I'm absolutely not going to give you the benefit of the doubt, because again, like I would rather just be a little bit precautious in that situation rather than take the risk of like having this man come up to me, and you know, anything could happen. Really, anything could happen. I don't want to assume the worst case scenarios, but like I have to. Unfortunately, it's really sad to admit, but unfortunately, this is the state of the world where women have to be like really, really precautious because a lot of times women have given men the benefit of the doubt and ended up dead or raped or sexually assaulted. And I'm sorry, like I'm not saying that with a smile on my face. It's more so just like the anger that's causing me to smile. Like women being kind has led to their demise at the hands of men abusing that. So yeah, and on that note, I have to go to the doctor's office, and this cat, she hates me. She doesn't hate me, she likes me. She doesn't like being pet, but whenever I like nudge my head towards her, she likes to like rub up on it and like will like do that little head thingy. It's a bit weird and confusing, but cats, I guess, right? Oh my god, the death stare she's giving me, I have no idea. Phoebe, why are you looking like that? Okay. Bye.